Hey, gang. Welcome back to Developments in the ATL with Geoff Smith, recording from the Business RadioX studios inside of Renaissance Bank in Alpharetta, where we talk about all things economic development throughout the metro Atlanta area with a focus on residential real estate. I am the branch manager of the downtown Roswell location for Assurance Financial, specializing in residential home mortgages. We fund our own loans, underwrite, and process in-house, have 4 quality appraisers on rotation, and if it's a residential loan you need, we've got the product. FHA, VA, USDA, conventional jumbo, and construction, our engine is built to get our clients loans quickly, cleanly, and to have the most competitive rates on the market. If you're a realtor, we love to help your first-time home buyers by educating them throughout the process so they feel comfortable throughout the deal. We love making it simple and smooth for your high-end buyers, and ultimately, we bring happy clients on time to your closing tables. I absolutely cannot believe that I'm saying this, but happy holidays, folks. Thanksgiving is a week away. This year flew right by. We are knee-deep in the holiday season, and this I really can't believe I'm saying, but the Braves are world champions. I've been waiting to see that again for 26 years, and what an incredible week it's been. As it is most of the time during the holidays, the residential real estate market is starting to slow just a bit, and that is, of course, relative as we're coming out of what was the most competitive market here ever in recorded history. It's been a street fight all year for buyers to win contracts on homes, and it kind of feels like folks are taking a second to catch their breath, maybe. No doubt my real estate friends have been working overtime to make sure their clients are happy, and we're going to get to those numbers in just a second with our good friend Mitchell Palm. He'll let us know exactly what's really going on right now. But first, I would like to introduce my very wonderful guests, realtors Tom and Joanne Curtin of the Curtin Team. Tom and Joanne founded the Curtin Team in 2001 and have since closed over $500 million in home sales. I think I'll put it differently because it sounds a little bit better. They have closed over $500 million in home sales. That must feel pretty good, guys. Helping more than 1,700 clients to buy or sell their home. They have this process down to a science. They've actually broken the home selling process into 150 individual tasks. They are considered experts in their industry, hosting education workshops around town, and have won multiple awards in real estate. They also started a nonprofit, which I find very interesting, called the Curtin Team Cares in 2008, offering financial assistance to local organizations and individuals in need. Tom and Joanne, welcome, and thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Geoff.
Thanks, Geoff.
I feel so important.
Well,
love that intro. Thank you.
Well, it's history, and you guys have done a great job. You've done a great job at growing your brand and keeping it fresh and throughout Roswell, and I can't wait to touch on that for just a little bit. Why don't you guys go ahead and tell us a little bit about your team and a little bit about the Curtin Team?
Oh, gosh, where should we start? Tom? You know me, I'll go way back.
Yeah, so Joanne and I have worked together for 20 years now, and we formed the team really just to provide better service to our clients, but also better service to the agents that are on the team. We feel like everybody should work in their strengths. We know with agents, paperwork's not always a strength, right? So we've got support staff to do that, and we've got a great group. I mean, it's I don't know. What would you say, Joanne?
Well, I was going to say, we before that, I always like to back up. I mean, we started the team in our basement in Roswell 20 years ago, and we were running it, having the best time of our lives, loving the life we were living and helping others. And then after the crash and the recession, we were like, oh my gosh, here it comes again. And we knew that we had to, grow through others because it was just going to be 100% our life. And by then we had kids, and we had to give a better level of service now on the second run in. So that was when we made a commitment to really just grow the team, so we could, give clients super high service. So that's really, that's what we've done for the last 10 years, is just kind of perfect that. So, we've got a great team.
And it is a great team. And there's how big is the team? I know the size of office you have now on Canton Street in downtown
half
Roswell.
of us are sales, half of us are success team.
There's we're 12.
Yep.
12 of us now.
We're 12.
There you go. Well, congratulations on that. It's just been a tremendous amount of success. And like I say, everybody around downtown Roswell especially knows the Curtin team and who they are. And we'll talk a little bit about more of that in a second. But are you guys, just before we get to the data, are you guys seeing any sort of, what's your read on the market right now? Are you starting to see any sort of slowdown? I mean, typically it does during the holidays anyway, but what are you guys seeing?
I was going to say back in August is when I first saw a change, but Tom?
Yeah, I mean, last year was kind of weird because we were feeling that slingshot from having the shutdown, and then we didn't have the normal seasonality that we usually see, right? And this year, I feel like we're going from 120 miles an hour down to 80 miles an hour. So it feels slower. It's still fast, but it's slower than we were going. Right?
It has been a wild ride this year. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and instead of 15 offers on a house,
right?
Maybe not 15, but maybe 2, 3.
Right.
And it depends on the pricing too. I mean, everybody's like, the market's amazing. Well, it depends on who you ask. Who are you asking? Sellers, buyers, or the agents, right? Because everybody's experiencing such a different game depending on who side you're on with it all. So,
well, let's go ahead and get right to our data guy. We've got let's go to our finger that sits directly on the pulse of Atlanta. Mitchell, I'm sure you've been called a lot worse than that. But folks, Mitchell is the foremost expert when it comes to residential real estate data in the metro Atlanta area. Mitchell Palm with Smart Real Estate Data. And Mitch, I'll do your introduction here. Since 1996, Smart Real Estate Data has been the premier source for residential real estate information in the Southeast, providing timely and accurate data to the nation's top builders, developers, appraisers, suppliers, brokers, investors, and banking professionals. Smart Real Estate Data was the only company used for analysis to extend the 2010 housing stimulus in the U.S. Senate at the request of Senator Johnny Isakson, a longtime real estate guy here in the Atlanta area. And since arriving at Smart Real Estate Data, Mitchell has run the market's due diligence and consulted on hundreds of residential real estate developments throughout the Southeast. Starting in Atlanta, they now collect and publish data for markets across the entire Southeast, and we're very pleased to welcome via phone the one and only data master, Mitchell Palm. Mitchell, welcome to the show.
Geoff, thank you very much. Quite the intro. I always appreciate it.
Well, so we're talking about a slowdown because, we kind of felt it, but you have said that there's actually some numbers attached to that. What is your read on the market right now? What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, I was on the show in early August, and I think Joanne just mentioned it too. When COVID happened, we were freaking out too. We had a lot of our clients who are mainly builders, developers, and land brokers, more on the new construction side, obviously. They were cautious too. They didn't know what was about to happen. And so we were worried, this 2007 all over again. And luckily it was quite the opposite. And so obviously we just had a run that we maybe will never see ever again, with pricing going up 30% year over year. In a decent, market. It wasn't like it was the bottom and we're coming right back up.
That's insane.
But what I mentioned in August is that we just saw our first down month in closings since COVID happened, and that was in July. And so we predicted that, this could be, happen anyways. We were saying this in earlier 2021, we can't sustain, the price appreciations like that we've been seeing. And the price appreciations, they are not slowing down whatsoever. We just came out with some good third quarter numbers. We have some October numbers as well. But in terms of pricing overall, Metro Atlanta is still up 16% from third quarter of last year. But closings overall are down 5%. And that's mostly because the biggest month actually down was the month we just experienced. We saw about a 6% drop. And that sounds like, should we be worried or not? But we're not worried at all. It's still the second highest closing for October of all time. It's 6% down from last year, but it's 11% up from 19. So you put in that perspective, I think we had a little bit of, I'm not going to call it a bubble, but a mad rush to buy a home right after COVID ended. Not ended, but right after COVID, first scared everybody that the spring month. And it's getting a little bit more back to normal. I think Joanne even mentioned that instead of 15 offers, you're seeing 2, but at least you're still seeing 2 offers. You are seeing a lot of,
right.
I think people are starting to list homes for maybe more than they're actually worth, but that's understandable because they're still getting sales on those anyways and offers.
So 16%, if you could put that in perspective as well. I mean, it's an incredible amount of growth year over year. Like we're down to 16%, but what's a normal, if there is such a thing as a normal in this market, what's a normal year over year price growth? Usually we're in the
3 to 5% is typically what you want to see. And this year alone, we're looking at just over, anywhere from 16 to 20% is probably where we're going to end up at, which is going to be the second highest we've ever seen. We started tracking this data back in the mid-90s, but in the last one, I kind of mentioned this earlier, was way back in, I believe it was 2013. 2013 was the first year we saw the market really truly rebound from the crash that we witnessed over that 4-year period. And so that's not a good comparison. This is still probably the most expensive, hottest appreciation market in terms of pricing we've ever seen. I think next year you will start to see a little more of a slowdown. We're already seeing it in these late months. Earlier in the spring, we saw, price appreciations of 20 to 30%. Now they're a little bit more normal, 10, 15%. And I think probably by midway next year, you'll start to see the 5% increases, or maybe even be flat. There's a lot of different factors that go into this. If you see mortgage rates start going up, you're going to see prices to come down. That's 100% guaranteed.
100% guaranteed. So,
and even I say mortgage rates go up. I mean, we're still historically low in mortgage rates. So I think people are going to have a natural freak out if we see 3.5, but 3.5, 2 years ago was amazing. When I bought my home back in 2016, I got 3.65, and I thought that was, astonishing, near like the all-time low. So everything's a perspective.
I was just talking to somebody today, hemming and hawing about 3.25%, and I said, a year and a half ago, this is the best rate ever in recorded history. So,
exactly.
And you mentioned, you said the word bubble, but you didn't mean to say the word bubble, but it's interesting because people are asking me all the time because everybody realizes how bizarre this year has been. Are we in some kind of bubble? How are we, it's just like 2007, but the supply and demand is way different than it was in 2007. I mean, how, talk to people's fears that, just because values are going up so much, I don't want to invest because I think it's all going to crash. And I've had people tell me that, but I just don't talk about that.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, we have seen an increase in months of supply. So how many homes listed for sale and how many closings in the last 12 months. And I think this is the 7th consecutive month or 6th consecutive month I've seen a month over month increase in months of supply. There's nothing to be worried about. Today's month of supply is the same as it was in February this year. It's just that we reached such a substantial bottom at under 1 month in these spring months and all the way through July that that wasn't normal whatsoever. And like you said, is it a bubble like it was in 2007? The month of supply back in 2007 was 6.5. So I think we actually have to add, I did this math not too long ago, but I think we have to add like 50,000 homes to the market to even get back to what we were back in what was considered a normal market back in 2006. Little did we know, obviously, at the time. But I think really a 4 months of supply is probably more of a true equilibrium. Anything under that is the seller's market. And even today, it's not the largest seller's market of all time, Metro Atlanta, but you could definitely say it's the second largest, and it's very close behind the first.
Great. So we say slow down back to a normal market, basically, is kind of what we're looking for. Possibly just a little bit less, but we'll see.
We'll still see the second highest resale closings of all time this year, just behind last year, or at least on a trailing 12-month basis. But awesome. We're not worried whatsoever. Most of our clients are builders. Obviously, they're one of the first. They do so many different analytics on seeing if the market's going to slow down, and they're not worried at all either. Their biggest issues are finding lots of land and getting labor and getting materials. If they can build a home, they're going to sell it.
Right. And it's still hard to find land. It's still hard to find materials. Right.
Yep. And I guess it's a good leeway even. I guess, Zillow, I think we're going to talk about iBuyers a little bit, but Zillow, should we be worried that they are pulling out of their iBuyers program? Did they see some sort of trend? I don't believe so. I think that was always kind of a failed program anyways. And we do a lot of reports on that for agents all the time. And they were making some bad deals regardless. Maybe they see this as a peak, but they were losing so much money. And then people are also asking, well, are they going to flood the market with all of their homes that they currently hold? They really don't hold that many homes. All iBuyer purchases make up 5% of the market. Zillow makes up maybe 10% of that 5%. So you're looking at max, maybe 5,000 homes hit the market in the next 6 to 9 months.
Well, and I remember you did you came to one of our events and you were talking about the iBuyer program, and you had this data which showed how much money sellers were leaving on the table by actually going with the iBuyers. And I mean, you had actual data to prove all of that out. Is it that maybe sellers are getting more savvy and not using the product, or is it just really just a failed business model from the side of Zillow? And if that's the case, if it's a failed business model, do you see all the other iBuyers start to get out of the market?
I know Opendoor sees differently. Opendoor has been skyrocketing with their purchases. We actually just came out with our third quarter iBuyer report, and it was the highest quarter of all time. I mean, I had to triple check these numbers because they really were absurd. We had 3,400 homes purchased by an iBuyer in third quarter of this year. Put that in perspective, third quarter of last year, we had 275. So that's over 1,100% increase in iBuyer purchases. This year alone actually last quarter was more than double of all of last year iBuyer purchases. So there's still a lot of activity going on. But as you mentioned too, with the price differences, on average, an iBuyer such as Zillow, Opendoor, OfferPad is going to buy a home, usually less expensive homes, and they on average actually flip them for over $22,000 more than what they paid for it. And they're also getting on average an 8% fee. So there's a lot of money to be made on there. I don't work for Zillow. I don't know anybody who does work for Zillow, at least in the iBuyer program, but I'm not sure why they dropped it. I mean, there obviously were some metrics in there that they saw that it wasn't a good fit for them. I don't know. But Opendoor is still, they're still making a lot of money on this program. Gotcha.
So they're still out there. Well, Mitchell, I know you've got some things to do, and I appreciate you so much coming on the show. Thank you so much this year for your data and everything that you've given to us, and keep crunching the numbers. We need you out there, us folks on the market out there selling. We need to know what's going on, and we appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving. Any big plans?
Yes, thank you. You as well. Any big plans? No. I actually started traveling a lot this year, and I think we're going to be pretty low key.
Yeah.
This Thanksgiving and Christmas, which I don't mind at all. I don't like traveling during the holidays personally.
Right.
But nothing crazy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for going on the show. Go Braves, and hope everything goes well.
Go Braves.
Hope to talk to you soon.
Hey, go Dogs. Go Dogs as well.
Go Dogs, baby. I didn't want to, I think we're all Dogs fans here, right? Okay. All right. Very good.
There we go. Okay.
Awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Happy to be back on the future date. Take care.
Take care, Mitchell. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
I don't know, y'all are a little bit higher end market on your sales side. I don't know if you run into the iBuyer thing. Is that something you consider them like a competition?
When Mitchell was talking about those numbers, like what was it, 247, and now it's 3,400, the 1,100% increase. So to me, that's about the hassle. Mm-hmm. People are doing that because of the hassle that we can, we do. It looks like we do high end because we get a lot of properties in high end condition because we know the money they're leaving off the table.
So a few years ago, even prior to Zillow entering the market, we had OfferPad and Opendoor here, and we saw that. We saw that our potential clients were leaving money on the table, and we said, we need to offer this. So we do. We have our own in-house iBuyer program, if you will. And, but the difference is we give them the option. So we're saying we can buy it, right? And if you want to hit the easy button and the convenience, and this is that price, right? Or this is what it would look like if you did a retail sale and did a few things to really maximize and get the return on your investment. So we do offer both. And I think that's the difference, right? Like
And some people
Opendoor's not going to tell you like what your house is really worth.
Well, and they have no idea.
Right.
Those algorithms don't tell you if you've got a park behind your house and it's worth more than the iBuyer quote they just gave you.
Right. It's all just database.
They have
Right.
And then the investors that come to us, they come to us because the algorithms don't give the local perspective. We all know that you could walk to 3 private schools from this house, and the algorithms don't know anything about that. So there's just so much that buy box criteria can't cover.
Yeah, I don't think it'll go away because there's always going to be that small percentage of the market that it's really a convenience thing. So they have 6 dogs and 3 kids and whatever, and they just do not want to deal with whatever. That's a great option for them. Right?
Well, there's a lot. So I deal with both sides as well, and I know how much angst goes into putting your house on the market when you're trying to buy a house.
Right.
You know, the uncertainty and all that can having to keep your house clean. You know, I mean, just every single day. So some people maybe are just willing to pay just to not have to go through all that.
And I remember the recession we were talking about. You know, after 2007 and all. I mean, I remember talking house after house. I would visit house after house. And I was just like, there's so much deferred maintenance during 8, 9, 10, 11. I was like, I don't know how they're going to clean their houses up one day. Well, guess what? This is how they got to get them cleaned up. 34,000 houses. Finally, they're like, thank you. Well, people are giving their house away. You don't have to do that. You know, that's why we created this whole, value proposition.
Yeah. Well, we also have a renovate now, pay later, because that's the other thing. Like sometimes people don't have the money to fix it up.
That's right.
So that solves that issue.
So you have a program where, how does that work?
Up to a certain amount, we're fronting the repairs and the upgrades, and then at closing, it's paid out.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. And I know it's a huge inhibitor. And some people, like you said, are leaving money on the table because they're just selling it as is. And whereas just a little touch up here and there, sometimes I assume can add a tremendous amount of value to a house.
Yeah. And if we can make you more money, wouldn't you just hire us? And the answer is yes. I mean, we sold a house for somebody who lived in Florida. They're like, truth be told, like this house might not need to be walked into. And we were like, trust us, we'll do it. We orchestrated the whole thing. They never came back to Georgia. They just pocketed the $40K that they were going to say goodbye to and said, thank you so much. And we took care of it from them just like mailing the keys back.
Right.
To profiting. And even the buyer was like, oh, this is a gorgeous property. I couldn't have afforded something other than this. So, I mean, it was a win-win-win, triple win.
But isn't that a risky on your part? I mean, you're betting pretty big that your knowledge that your repairs are going to improve the value of the house.
So we tracked it. Yeah, we made sure that we would never. I mean, our mission on our team is to help people build wealth through real estate. Okay, right. We would never put a sign in the yard if we can't make you $1 on your, $1 on your dollar. So we would make sure to, hey, this client put this much in. What did they profit? And we were tracking that like 27%, 37%, 36%, 50%. We were like, whoa, like you're making so much on your dollar. Why wouldn't you do this? And then it just took off from there. And then now you can see what renovation costs are.
So we have someone on our team that is like, that's all they do, home transformation stuff. And so that's really, she's the one that we put our trust in her, right? Mm-hmm. So if she says, this is what we should do, then that's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And she knows the best, suppliers and contractors and all of that to get it done. And she knows ultimately we have to return that money. So
interesting. Yeah. And if you're selling a house, why wouldn't you put trust in the people that are going to sell your house for you, who do this on an everyday basis to do the repairs that are going to make you the biggest bang for your buck?
Right.
Yep. Absolutely.
So let me switch gears just a second. So this year has just been insane, and it's been fascinating for me. I haven't had any time to watch because I've been just as busy as you all have, but it's been fascinating to see how people's jobs and their roles have pivoted, because of the market. And our market's ever changing. People always say there's a normal market, and there really isn't. I mean, there's always, it seems like, something crazy going on, and we keep waiting for it to get back to normal.
Or it's an election year, or
yeah, it's always something, right? It'll be normal after this, and then something else, and that's it. So I think it's just the nature of our business. But as a listing agent, as selling a house, how has the role changed this year where we've gone into this market where, like you said, 15 buyers, 15 competing offers? What is your job? And do you even have to sell a house? Do you even have to do anything to get a house on the market?
Okay, so if that's the perception, that makes sense of why so many agents get into this business, because they think it's just put a sign in the yard and hope somebody else sells it.
That's right.
Which has, benefited us, because really at the end of the day, people need that expertise. And when you get 15 offers, that offer that is dangling the big number carrot in front of your face is probably the most dangerous one to accept, right? Like you might even need to take the lowest offer. By the time you peel the banana and figure out all what's under the covers with that offer, and, maybe the agent, we know agents, and reputation is over revenue out here in this business. So all of that is what I feel like you just, that's where we're winning. And the role is fiduciary, and that's full stop. That's it.
Right. I think in a way it's, it sounds like, it's easier, but if you have that many offers, and we've had as many as in the 40s, right?
Insane.
That's a lot to sort we had to build spreadsheets.
Right.
And so that becomes your job. And really, like Joanne said, getting into all the details, it's not just necessarily about the price. And then preparing the house. There's a difference between, if you get the house looking like it should, how many more offers can you get? Right. How much higher can you go? So, there are people that are just like, we don't even need to do anything. Well, that's true, but that's probably causing you to lose some money.
Well, and
you need to know when you shouldn't, like some agents share how many offers are in. That can turn off a buyer. We were talking with Mitchell, buyer fatigue, I think, happened in August.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really changed the climate out there. So, you may just need to receive offers and not be all, sharing how many offers you have, because that can turn people away. I experienced that in the recession too. If you try to make your property look so much better with multiple offers, the buyer can say, you know what, keep your offer. Then, for goodness sake, if an agent is bluffing about that, then they just walked away the best buyer their only buyer that they could have ever had.
Make it seem unwinnable.
It can be a mess.
Well, let me ask. So we're talking to real estate people. So I know what you said. I know what you mean when you said, you got multiple offers and you're peeling back the banana to see what's behind it. I know what you mean. And I know what's behind it, but tell what could possibly be, hey, a lot of people think I got this offer. They're offering me the most money. Why would I not take that offer? What kinds of things could make that a weak offer?
You've got due diligence, right, which is your inspection. So there's definitely strategy behind that. There's financing. So you want to look real careful at the financing, right, and talk to the loan officer on the other side, right, if there's a loan or if it's cash, is it really cash? And then, I think possession, right, that's been a big one, because maybe people don't know where they're going to go, or they need time, and, negotiating that time to where you're not having to be out the minute that you're closing, that can be worth a lot to people, right?
Right.
What if you could stay in your house for an extra 60 days at no cost after we close? So little things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So possession, believe it or not, personal property can get pretty hot potato. So that's a very sticky, sentimental things in the property. So right.
If a deal doesn't go well, right, you may have wasted 30 to 45 days, and now they got to put it back on the market again and go through that whole process all over again. So it's important to know what's behind it. So interesting.
And if you have to terminate a property, you better wait to make that phone call when you've got another buyer in the wings with a backup. So the backup is a whole nother, banana to peel.
Right.
You need to have backups so that you never really have to, come off the market.
And so now you're making sure the backups are ready to go, so that if you do have to pivot, it's going to get done quickly,
right.
and then you have somewhere to jump to.
Yep. And sometimes
safely.
It was better to be a backup in our market, because you could put pressure on first buyer. First buyer's gone, and backup gets the backups had a better at bat than the first offer. So you almost wanted to be. It just got really
Interesting.
Interesting.
Into all these things you never did. And so it's fascinating because I'm on the buyer side most of the time as a mortgage banker. I'm working with the buyer's agent. We're a team trying to make our client as attractive as possible. And so I've always asked buyer's agents, what are you doing? What's your magic? What are you doing? What kind of tricks are you doing? And I know you all have buyer's agents as well, but on the listing side, what are some of the things that some buyer's agents have done to separate their clients and make their clients more attractive other than just giving you the best price?
Well,
and you mentioned on some.
Yeah. The super short due diligence, of course, is attractive, or no due diligence at all.
Yeah, I've
seen that
on the other buyer broker. I wasn't their broker, but I think we got a contract with some TBDs, like just fill in your blank, like blank contract. I'm not advocating that, but my seller loved it. They got to pick it all. So that was fun.
Well, that's interesting. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that
before.
put your client in some danger, but that was fun for the seller to receive.
Interesting. That's good stuff. So now I guess we're kind of pivoting back into this quote unquote normal market. Time to take stock. What are y'all? I know you're usually around the holidays. Going off script a little bit here, but y'all can handle this. This is an easy question. Around the holidays, I usually sit back and kind of look at how the year was, what went right, what went wrong, what do I need to change, how do I fix 2022. So as we head towards the holidays, does the Curtin team get into that? Or are you guys just still busy on deals?
No, we do for sure. The operations team really takes this time to do a lot of project work and kind of look at our systems, because we always say whatever we're going to change, right, we got to have it locked and loaded by February 1st. Because that's for us when spring market starts. So we do take this time to kind of evaluate what can we do to make things better for the team, the clients, what systems do we need to do if we're going to bring in any new piece of software, like this would be the time of the year to do it. So all of those things happen like right now. For me, because I'm on the operations side, I actually feel a lot of times more busy this time of the year because I'm trying to get all that stuff done.
Sure.
And just kind of putting our heads down and working on a lot of that while we have the breathing room to do it.
Well, and a fun call to make, which I called yesterday and asked quite a few people, like, hey, we're planning, our team is planning like vacations for 2022. Like, do you have real estate related plans for the year? Because we need to kind of work around what you're going to be doing. Everybody's going to travel, and that is such a big we need to plan around people's travel. So we need to know kind of what that is.
Yeah, but the agents, our agents are still working. That's for sure. I think a lot of agents do stop, and that's a benefit to us, I guess. We just keep going. We make
it a rule. Nobody's ever out of town. Like we can't always vacation at the same time.
We have a saying in our office, if you want to get busy, just go on vacation.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's magic. We do client events. So this is like a time of the year when we do that. So we have our fall festival. We do a pie giveaway. We have photos with Santa. So that all hits within 60 days. Right.
Well, y'all are very busy.
Yeah.
Very busy during this time of year. Yep. And speaking of ops, okay. So I had a construction company years ago, and me and Brenda, my wife Brenda, we tried working together. And it did not work out so well. Okay. We were not able to separate the business partner wife relationship. We didn't know how to turn it on, turn it off. And, we both had our way of doing things. Let's just say, we're great. Marriage is wonderful. You'll be happy to know. And I know you know that, but, how do you guys tell me a little bit about working with your spouse? What is that like? How do you not take this business home, or is it just seamless? Is it natural? Do you not even know? Tell me a little bit about how y'all make this work.
So that's a
question we get asked a lot.
A learned skill for sure.
We've been on a panel for husband and wife.
I think prior to kids, it was easier, and we had to really, because we could just go all the time, and it was like whatever. But once we had kids, we had to build like a lot more boundaries around it.
But really, like, what are we doing together? Like, Tom and I have never
that's
done
the key,
anything
is like
together. That's the key. Like,
we've always had separate roles. We're not going on appointments together. We're not, like that kind of stuff. We did at one time try to share an office. That did not work
Tom
at all.
Is a mess.
I mean,
His office
apparently
desk,
I breathe incorrectly and a lot of other things.
Yes, the breathing.
Okay.
There was
right.
breathing involved.
Yeah. So we separated offices, and now we're not even in. Yeah, we're very separated from that standpoint.
We can go days without talking about business, but we text constantly.
Right. But I think we got more intentional about, and having kids, again, they'll call us out. Like, if we're sitting at the dinner table and we start to talk about business, they would call us out. So we got out of that habit. So we just learned to separate it.
And my daughter still doesn't know who the boss is. She's still confused.
Oh yeah, that's an ongoing
Mom, who's
debate
the boss?
in the house.
She can't figure it out.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
We love that. Like, she can't figure. But no, I think Tom and I have always. I mean, and this is how we grow our team. Like, let's have a life. Like, let's have a great relationship. And if anything is irritating us, we just need to remove that, right? And keep this relationship, first and foremost. But stay in our lanes. Tom has a distinct lane he's in. I'm in my lane, and we know when Tom tells me often, like, you're in my lane. Like, stay in your lane, and that is kind of all we need to do. And same with everyone else on our team. They kind of, we model it for them. Hey, stay in your lane, and that's
the trick. It's staying in your lane. I know.
Just know your strengths and stay in the lane.
Right. I coach youth sports, so I coach my kids, and when I coach them, I'm not the coach. I'm the guy who told him to clean up the room that day. I'm the guy that, and so likewise, you're supposed to be staying in your lane, but he's also the guy who's leaving. I assume if his office is messy, the house is messy too, Look how we've got you pegged now.
Well, and the perfect example is like
he still breathes at the house,
when
right?
COVID went down and stress hit, Tom went in the basement, I went in the top office, and we just did what we did best. And that was separate, divide, and conquer. Right?
Y'all do a great job. I've met your whole team. Wonderful people.
Thank you.
And it kind of leads me into the next thing. Y'all have done more. It's not a lot of realtors just talk about the numbers. Hey, I got to get this many deals this year. I got to do this, got to do that. And it's always about the sale. And it's like that's the last thing I end up talking about when I talk to you two or anybody on your team. And one of the things that y'all have actually done, which a lot of people give away, a lot of people donate, but y'all have actually gone the extra mile and started a nonprofit, Curtin Team Cares. So, tell me first of all, how did that come about, and what is that? What are you guys doing?
Yeah. So that, we started it several years ago, and it grew. It was always something we wanted to do. And,
Tom's from Roswell.
I grew up in Roswell.
Class of 91.
So we wanted to do something really local, right? And this opportunity gave us. So we have the ability to do things really quickly. So we do have a board, and we can make super fast decisions. So if there's an immediate need with a family, we can. We saw this in our real estate business. Stuff would come up sometimes, and you're just like, gosh, you want to help these people. So that's one part of it. And then there's so many great local organizations already, and then we can just help support them. So we just did something with Children's Development Academy, great organization in Roswell. We've really been supporting them. So every closing, we have a certain percentage that goes to help them out in what they do. And then we also do a Roswell High School scholarship, which is pretty cool. It's an entrepreneurial scholarship, so it's not based on grades or anything, but showing your entrepreneurial spirit. Okay. So we want to support that, and they
not necessarily for a C student, but if they're not an A student, it's okay, right?
Yeah, it's just based on what they have done. They fill out basically
showed initiative, which is all about what we do every day.
Yeah. Okay, so that's right. Yeah. So that's a scholarship to be used for.
So they can use the money however they want, and then we also include with that mentoring. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a cool program. And such a cool team and such a cool couple. I mean, really. And speaking of family life, I know y'all have, it's Friday evening here in the studio, and there are some things we've all got to get back to on the family life. So we're kind of going to go ahead and cut the show there. But I just want to say thank y'all so much. It has been so much fun having you on the show. The Curtin team. If anybody, how can they reach you? If anybody has any questions about real estate or wants to learn more about Curtin Team Cares or anything, how can they reach you?
So Curtin is Curtin, so no A in Curtin, but just curtinteam.com, and everything's there.
Yeah. We have our little, we have our Canton Street address. You could pop into our office. We have people that walk their dogs and say, "Are you in?" And, so call us, email us, message me on Facebook. Whatever, Instagram, although I'm mostly on Facebook. So.
Yep. So Curtin team, what is the Curtin family doing? Any big plans for the holiday?
So Curtin family has no kitchen at the moment.
Right.
And our kitchen is our dining room with a skillet, a microwave, and, so we're not cooking for the holidays, which is awesome. We're like, hey, yes, we're coming, but we're not cooking. So,
I know that's a story in itself, which we could talk about if we had more time.
Oh, and couldn't everybody? I mean, everyone's got their stories, and that is one of ours. So, we're going to be with family in town. We pretty much will be in town till maybe after the holidays. Probably in the new year, we'll head out of town.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Geoff.
Thanks, Geoff.
This was fun.
All right.
Appreciate y'all.
Great. Thank
Well,
you.
everybody, thanks again for tuning in to Developments in the ATL with Geoff Smith. I've been with the Curtin team and Mitchell Palm. And until next time, thank you for stopping by.